or hi YouTubers, hi, I'm back with the 40 Years of Mills and Boon. And you know that film that came out with Sandra Bullock and Hugh Grant many years ago called 2 Weeks Notice? Essentially, she's a lawyer, he hired her to be his personal assistant, and I like the fact, okay, that every single word of dialogue out of Hugh Grant's mouth would sound so insufferable, but he gets away with it because he's British. It's like if you watch Lucifer. Now, Lucifer, I've got to quickly talk about this. Lucifer was intended to be American, and Thomas can do a cracking American accent if you watch the last season. But they decided that those words coming out of an American's voice would make it sound like an insufferable prick. People can be insufferable pricks, but with a British accent, you give it a pass. Okay, so especially for someone like Hugh Grant, because Hugh Grant's so floppy with the floppy hair. So, 2 weeks' notice, in which the protagonist treats his assistant like crap, but of course she puts a notice in and then they fall in love and it's just weird, okay? This is 2 weeks notice, twisted as hell, okay? Oh, twisted. Okay, here we go. It's by Caitlin Cruz, A Devil in Disguise. It's a Mills and Boon modern, and let me read the blurb. Playing with fire, okay? Drizella Bennett's job from hell will soon be over. Ready to take her life back and walk away from the devil, currently disguised as her boss, Drew plucks up the courage to say, I quit. Nothing has ever taken K.O. Villa by surprise until now, and the word no isn't part of his vocabulary. The resignation from his best PA he's ever had is simply unacceptable. Drew's heard all about his legendary charms, but now that is turned on her, she understands exactly why it's so hard to say no to K.O. Villa. So her boss won't let her quit. He wants to keep her. Yeah. Human resources don't really exist in this book, as you can imagine. Oh god, okay. It's so obviously, this is like he's the worst bastard boss in the world. Let me open it up. Okay. Chapter 1, of course. Of course not resigning your position, K.O. Villa said impatiently, not even glanced up from the wide expanse of his granite and steel desk. A desk loomed in front of a glorious floor-to-ceiling view over the gleaming wet stretch of the city of London. Not that she ever absolutely observed enjoying it. The working feeling was that he simply liked knowing it was widely desired by others, and it pleased him more than the view itself. That's what K.O. Villa loved above everything else, owning things others converted. Oh yes. So she tries to literally say, I quit, walk out, and I'm going to spoil territory here. Barrow recently passed away. He was a drug addict, and Drew lives in a basic sort of money went towards basically helping her brother. It wasn't the end, and she wants to go to Bora Bora to scatter his ashes. Okay, and so she's trying to give her 2 weeks notice. Not like 2 weeks notice, okay, in lieu of I'm at 2 weeks notice, but also going to take my holiday pay, so I just leave now basically. But he forces her to work out her 2 weeks notice because he's that insufferable, and he doesn't want her to quit and basically be his beck and call. But this bit here, it's a bit okay. This bit here. I'm not giving you 5 years. I'm not giving you 2 more weeks. I'm not giving you another second. I'd rather die. Kay stared at his assistant as if he'd never seen her before. There was something about the way she tilted her perfect, pretty oval of her face, the way her usual calm, grey eyes sparkled with the force of her temper, and something about that mouth of hers. He couldn't seem to look away. Unbidden, a memory teased through his head over a hand on his cheek, his grey eyes warm and something like affection. Her lips, but no. There was no need to revisit that insanity. He worked too hard to strike it from his consciousness. It was one regrettable evening in 5 smooth issue 3 years. Why think of it now? Oh yeah, but he won't let her quit till she signed all like these forms. Okay, basically, you're not coming down to agreements. You won't do this. You won't do that. She doesn't really care anymore. She just basically wants to quit. She only really got a job with him because she needed the money. Okay. But she's like, okay, fine, well, we need to go to Switzerland and just sign all these forms, and then I'll fly to Bora Bora, and then you can live happily ever after, okay? But this bit here. Right. You do register as kidnapping, don't you? She demanded. What on earth are you talking about? He asked silkily. Of course, silkily. As most dangerous, but she couldn't let him that intimidate her. She wouldn't. No one forced you to come on this trip. There was no gun to your back. You agreed. It's not Switzerland. Doesn't even resemble Switzerland. It's either dead giveaway. Unless I'm very much mistaken, it's Dubrovnik. He's taken her to Switzerland to meet with his lawyer's case. He takes her to Dubrovnik and he's basically whacked her on his boat and says you can't leave until you work your 2 weeks notice. He's basically kidnapped her. He has kidnapped her. Okay? He's so much of a prick. Yeah, her boss has kidnapped her because she wants to quit. Do you realize how fucked up that is. But of course, okay, Drew's not having it, and she throws herself over the boat. So she jumps into the sea. Chapter 3. She's actually thrown herself off the side of the damn boat. Kay stood at the rail and scowled down at her. As he surfaced in the water, I started swimming for the far offshore, trying to keep his temper under control. Find to shove all that need and lust back to where it belonged, shut down and locked away in the deepest recesses of his memory. What the hell? So he wants her? Doesn't want her to quit, he wants her? After 5 years together, okay, and they had a little thing a couple of years earlier, okay, which, you know, hey, it was a one night thing. But no, he wants her. So basically he's going to punish her to stay as his PA. Right. Right. And literally, he starts to push Drusilla to a mental breakdown. Her entire thing, essentially, you know, she has to get changed, and obviously her hair was always tied back in a bun as a wild and free. So seeing the real Drusilla, fine, whatever. Okay. Right, this is page 65. You could replace me with anyone in the entire world if you choose. There's absolutely no reason for any of this. Not for years ago, not now. Apparently, said Coley, your price is higher than most. It's insane, she shook her head from her face, ordered her not to burst into tears. You don't need me. But I want you. It was as if something burst inside her. You will never understand. She stopped trying to hold herself back to keep herself in check. What was the point? There was someone I loved, someone I lost, years I could never get back. She didn't care that her voice was shaky, that she was loud, and her eyes were wet. Okay? There's no amount of money you can offer me that could fix the things that are broken. Yeah, but he won't let her go. He won't let her go. She's basically grieving for her brother. Okay? And in a way, he's just mentally torturing her till she kind of gives in. Till she gives in. And this bit here, okay, she's kind of turned around, okay, to KO. She's trying to kind of understand, okay, that, you know, oh, he had a really, really horrible life. Essentially, his mother, he's illegitimate. His mother was a, basically, well, I think she actually became a nun. His raised by his grandfather, kicked him out, and he basically wound up buying his entire village where he was from. So basically, everyone in the village would call him a devil and has to pay him rent. But you know, she starts to break down and starts to kind of, starts to fall for him. Okay, his bit here. And it didn't matter now. She looked at him with that certainty in his eyes, the sheer male confidence and stark kind of promise that she knew that she didn't have it to walk away from her. This, and when she spent so long in imagining it, fantasizing about it, yearning for it, who cares with everything she had? Who cares how long you have him, as long as you do? A greedy voice inside her asked. So this guy has all the power. This guy has all the power in this. He basically kidnapped her to get her to not quit. And basically he's just wearing her down until she gives in. And she does give in. Yeah, she finds him attractive. Yeah, she actually does like him in that weird kind of like carnal respect. And she gives in. Right. But of course it all goes tits up. Of course it all goes tits up. Because, and this bit here, okay, this is when, because she starts to fall in love with him. Of course she starts to fall in love with him. But he didn't love her. He didn't even pretend, not even now, not to marry her, to keep her. He didn't love her. So she couldn't tear herself to pieces into by leaving now, or she could stay and marry him. Fall apart by degrees, years by lovers years, until she really did hate him. The way she only wished she could 2 weeks ago. Right. Right. Yeah, and she says okay, feels like she deserves better. It's kind of like, yeah. But they, but he finally lets her go. He goes on our separate ways. He gets a new assistant at PA. It's actually great, her job. Okay, go and learn from it. Very, very happy. Okay, but she's not happy. She's got her brothers. Instead, she walks back into the building and says this. Okay, right. I like my old job back, she said, very distinctly politely. I come to beg for it if necessary. So she goes back to him to beg for her job back. She wants to be his PA. She wants to be with him. Sorry. God, that's so pathetic, isn't it? It is so, so pathetic. She's pathetic. And yes, they get back together, they get married, yada, yada, yada. You know, she helps clear his heart. He helps him move on from his brother. He still kidnapped her. He abducted her when she tried to give her 2 weeks' notice. Even then, he holds all the power in their relationship. This is a horrible toxic person. A horrible toxic relationship. It's disgusting. Hey, so Caitlin Cruz, A Devil in Disguise, Mills and Boon novel. No, I'm not recommending it. God, I hate books like this. Okay? Hey, so sign off. Next one coming up. Loves now. Bye now.